Hello everybody, it's Big City Studios here, and today I have a new custom video for you, but it's a little different. Because today, this custom video revolves around a character that up until today, I absolutely despise. And that character is none other than Rebecca from Big World Big Adventures. Now, when you think about it, there is absolutely no point for Rebecca to exist. She feels like a hit-era newbie, but worse. Because while they were introduced for the purpose of selling toys, Rebecca was introduced solely for the purpose to give more gender diversity to the main cast. Of course, there's nothing wrong with that, but the fact that she has pretty much nothing to her makes it actually kind of sexist. Plus, instead of pointlessly making up a completely new character, they could have brought back old characters to fill the role. Like, oh, I don't know, Molly? Or Flora? Both yellow. Or how about Lady? Diesel 10 was brought back in CGI. Why not Lady? Or they could have finally introduced Pip and Emma in CGI and just used them. But in the end, it was Mattel who did jack squat with Rebecca and just threw her away and had her replaced with that weird, goofy-looking bullet train. What the frick is even her name again? Oh yeah, it's like Kana or Kana? Whatever. But there was always something in Rebecca's character. Potential. She had all the potential to be a great character. She was just written in a way that made her bland and boring. But I'm going to unlock that potential in this video. In other words, I'm going to see if I can actually fix Rebecca. So let's begin. Alright, so before I build the custom, I need to establish a backstory. Here is my headcanon for Rebecca. Now this headcanon could work for any of the unrebuilt, scrapped West Country class locomotives. It felt a little weird to me that Rebecca would be one of the preserved West Countries. A lot of them just don't really feel like her. So I decided to go with 34030, aptly named Watersmeet. 34030 was built in 1946 for mixed traffic in the southern region. 34030 was sadly withdrawn and scrapped in 1964. But in my headcanon, she escaped before she could be scrapped. She removed her nameplates to throw BR off her tracks and was on the run for several months, jumping from railway to railway until staying on a preservation line for many years. Unfortunately, she wasn't able to get officially preserved, but the manager of the line was kind and had a soft spot for steam engines, and he would hate to see one meet the cutter's torch. So, during the day, 34030 was hidden in a shed, away from the public view. However, she was let out to take the night trains, which were mostly goods, as there would be no people or tourists to see her during the night, hence why we've never seen her. 34030 was able to handle the trucks very well. She always managed to keep them under her control. The railway staff say that it's as if she's wrangled and tied them up. So they gave her the name, Rebecca, as the meaning of that name in Hebrew means to tie. 34030 loved her new name. Something Rebecca missed dearly was the sunset. Being stuck in a secluded shed all day for many years made it so she was unable to see it, and she was always let out only after the sun was completely gone. Rebecca longed to see the sunset again. Things were like this for many years, until finally, we'll just say in like the early 90s or so, the preservation line was able to officially preserve Rebecca, and she was finally let out of the shed. Fast forward to 2018, where Sir Topham Hatt needed an engine to help Gordon out on Sodor. Cue Rebecca. A strong mixed traffic engine was just what Topham needed. So he gave her a trial, and after she proved useful, Topham purchased her. Rebecca was repainted into the colors of her choice, which were the colors of the sunset, and became a permanent Sodor resident, and has been working there ever since, hauling goods and pulling the express part-time. Now that I've established an actual backstory, let's get to building. Welcome to the making of Rebecca. And as you can see, we are all ready. We have our necessary materials out, but we seem to be missing one key ingredient, and that is the cardboard. Let's begin. First things first, we need to pick out a reference. Yes.
Hello.
Get the measurements, then trace it on the cardboard and cut it out to make the running board. Then you're gonna wanna glue the two pieces together. Next step is to get measurements for the cab. Then cut them out. Glue it together like this. Then you're going to add a roof and glue it to the running board like so. Then we're gonna get measurements for the tender and cut that out on cardboard. And at this point, we don't really need a reference anymore. However, her tender will take a lot of liberties from a previous model that I've done. And here are all the pieces that will make up the tender, so let's glue them together. So when you glue all the pieces together, it should look something like this. And then y'all know the drill, cover it in masking tape. Alright, the next step is the boiler, and we will actually be using a wooden dowel for it. First, cover the running board and cab in masking tape. Then you're going to add a thin piece of cardboard to give the boiler some height. Then once the wooden dowel is cut down to size, glue it onto the model. Now here's the tricky bit. We're actually going to be building around the wooden dowel. So here I've drawn some designs for the sides. And right here I cut them out and glued them on, and I made sure to do it at an angle. And here I've added the front. And finally I've added the top. The wooden dowel is now completely hidden. And then I covered it in masking tape. And it looks like it's coming together pretty well. So, funny story, it was at this time that I forgot to record footage of me making the wheels and the chassis, as I was too distracted watching Absolute Peak, so whoopsie, silly me. But I've already explained how I do it in previous videos, so it should be fine. But basically, this is what it looks like with the wheels and the chassis attached. The next step is painting, and this is where the headcanon I established for Rebecca comes into play. I started off by painting the wheels and the chassis black. Then for the main livery, I used Apple Barrel's Arbor Green. This took about 3 coats. Once I was finished with the green, I went back to using black for extra details. Then I used Jack-O-Lantern Orange by Apple Barrel to do the stripes and the lining. I then used red for the buffer beam, and gray for her headlamp. Once I finished the painting, the next step was adding magnets. I've stated before that these are 1 centimeter wide and 1/2 centimeter wide magnets, typically found on Amazon. Once I added them, the final step was decals and a face. I then went on my computer, printed them out, and applied them. And now for the final result. Nah, I'm just playing. Here is the final result. And I gotta say, this is probably one of the most unique builds I've ever done. And if I'm being completely honest, it's definitely a top 5 for me. Of course, I can always make changes when I want to. I can add a crest or a nameplate. Or I can even paint her yellow. And you know, after creating a whole backstory and custom of her, I think I can finally say that I think Rebecca is great. At least in the ways I imagine her. And I'm glad that was something I was able to discover for myself. Instead of just being forced to accept her, I put a lot of time and thought into this and was able to make her a good character that I could accept. So, what now? Well, I still have to go through with the other half of the bet. Write a story about her. And considering what I talked about in this video, I'm already pretty set. One of the reasons why I stated Rebecca was a bad character was because she had nothing to her. And that's because Mattel didn't write any good stories with her. In both her lead episodes, she admires different characters for being the best or special. She then feels sad and thinks that she isn't important. She then learns that she's special in her own way because the voice of reason character says so. They've done this same shtick with so many other characters before. Something that popped up a little bit with Rebecca is that she seems to be a little clumsy. She bumps into Winston twice? And doesn't seem to pay attention to where she's going a lot of the time.
Watch out, Rebecca!
Whoopsie!
Could have made her the definitive clumsy one, and had an arc on how she deals with that. Like I stated before, Rebecca's basis is a West Country class, otherwise known as the Battle of Britain class, a Pacific locomotive designed by Oliver Bullied. This is great! She could have been a rival to Gordon. It would have given him someone to bounce off of since his and Spencer's rivalry came to a close. And speaking of bullied designs, they could have brought back Neville in CGI and done something with him and Rebecca. Or how about her valve gear? Bullied Pacifics have something called chain-driven valve gear, something that caused a lot of problems, including lots of wheel slip. Could have done something with that. Basically, what I'm trying to say here is that there are endless options, and I'm gonna see what I can do with the story. And that will be coming in the next video, so stay tuned for that. Well, I think I've said my piece on Rebecca, but before this video ends, I want to give a special shout out to my patrons. If you would like to support the channel even more, check out my Patreon, link is in the description. And if you enjoyed this video, drop a like and sub to the channel if you haven't already. Alright, take care you guys.